To get started, you will need 4 cups of whole milk, 1.5 cups of chicken broth, 1 small to medium onion chopped, 1 carrot sliced into matchsticks. I also will be using 5 tablespoons of all-purpose flour and 5 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 1 teaspoon of granulated garlic powder. I'm also going to be using 3 cups of shredded sharp cheddar cheese and 1 cup of grated parmesan cheese, or you could just use cheddar cheese. The parmesan cheese is optional. I will also be using 1 16-ounce frozen bag of broccoli florets. Here I will be using a 5-quart pot, and I'm just going to be putting about a tablespoon of vegetable oil. And now I'm going to saute my chopped onion and carrots. I'm also going to add a pinch of kosher salt to help sweat out the vegetables. Now that my onions are translucent, I'm going to toss in my 5 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to go ahead and just move that around so it can melt. Now I'm going to go ahead and just shake in all of my all-purpose flour, and with a whisk, I will be moving this around. At this point, you should have a whisk because we're starting to make our cream sauce. And after letting the flour cook out for a minute or so, I'm going to slowly add in my room temperature whole milk. You don't want to just dump it in because then you'll have a problem. Little by little, working with your whisk, this will ensure you have a lump-free cream sauce. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this until I add in all 4 cups of my milk. And again, you want to make sure you bring it to room temperature before pouring into your pot. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add my salt to taste. This is up to you how much salt you want to use. I'm using probably about a half a teaspoon. I'm also going to be adding in some cracked black pepper. Now that my sauce is thick enough, I'm also going to be adding just 1 cup of my chicken broth. I'm reserving the other half for when I blend and puree part of the broccoli soup. I'm just going to go ahead and shake in my teaspoon of garlic powder and whisk that in. I'm just going to go ahead and dump in my broccoli florets and go ahead and give that a mix. Then I'm going to cover with a lid and let that simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes on a low heat. Okay, so after 20 minutes, I basically have a cream broccoli soup. If you like that, go for it. No cheese, and it's just as good. But what I'm going to do is add about 1/3 of the soup with some broccoli and carrots, and also the 1/2 cup of reserved chicken broth. And I'm going to puree this all together, and it's going to thicken the soup, and it also gives it, the green flecks of the broccoli throughout the soup, which I like. You can skip this step, but I like to do it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that back into the soup. Now that that's all mixed in, I'm going to add the cheese. This is our cheese element to broccoli and cheese soup. And again, here I'm going to be adding 3 cups of sharp shredded cheese and 1 cup of Parmesan cheese. You can skip the Parmesan cheese. I had it in my fridge. I like to use what I have in my fridge. And if you just want to use sharp cheddar cheese, you can use that. It's just as good. I'm going to give this a good mix, and I'm going to allow it to simmer again on a low to medium low heat and let the cheese get melted and incorporated into the soup. So here it is after 10 minutes. Now I'm going to prepare my bread bowl. This is a fun way to serve this soup, and it's so delicious. So I went to the bakery and picked up this fresh loaf of country sourdough bread, and I'm just going to cut the top, and I promise I'm not going to cut my fingers, just cut off the top. And then I'm going to take a smaller knife. This is, I would say a paring knife, but no, it's more like a steak knife. And I'm just going to carefully cut out the center. I'm carefully doing this because I want to make some crispy, crunchy, delicious croutons out of this for those of us that don't get the bread bowl. The croutons are a perfect way to garnish the soup, and they're also delicious for dunking. I'm going to toss in about 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. I'm going to go ahead and let the butter melt, and then I'm going to toss in all of my bread cubes and allow them to just get saturated with the butter. I'm going to move them around, and I'm going to toast them for about 10 minutes. Here I have my broccoli cheese soup. I added extra cheese for garnish, and now I'm just going to toss in some croutons on top. And here is my broccoli cheese soup bread bowl. As always, the recipe will be listed in the description box below. Now I'm also going to show you how to plate this up if you're just going to put it in a bowl. So here, I've ladled in some broccoli cheese soup and garnished with some extra shredded cheese and the croutons. So I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.